What should a beginner pianist actually master in their first year? Most people expect me to name a piece like Für Elise or some kind of waltz, but that's actually the wrong way to look at it. The first year is not about proving how advanced of a piece you can get to. The first year is all about building foundations that make future progress possible. Let's get into what these 10 things are. Number 1, build a consistent practice routine. It is not a good idea to do a 3-hour cram session every Saturday. I'd much rather you do 20 minutes Monday, 20 minutes Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. This habit of practicing regularly is going to be so important. The reason we need more consistent practice is because a lot of your gains come from sleeping the night before. So for example, when you practice something on Monday and Tuesday, suddenly things start to click on Wednesday and Thursday. It requires that kind of like do it a little bit, sleep, do it more, sleep, and then things will start to click. You'll literally feel some of those patterns and chords going into your hands. Number 2, know your way around the keyboard. By the end of your first year, the keyboard should feel a lot less random. You should be seeing some kind of system here. Now, most beginners know where C is. But if I ask you to find an F or a G, can you find these notes very quickly and very precisely? So just to show you a quick tip, we have 2 black key, 3 black key, 2 black key, 3 black key groups on the keyboard. And the ones with the 2 black keys are C, D, E. And the ones with 3 black keys here, the notes surrounding it are F, G, A, B. That's how beginners should start to think about where to find these notes, according to the 2 and 3 black key groups. If you understand this pattern, the keyboard becomes a lot less intimidating. The third thing you should master by the end of the year is to start to see music as patterns and not as individual notes. So for example, when you look at this, when you see these 3 notes, are you thinking about them as individual notes, C, E, and G? Or is a part of your brain recognizing that, whoa, that's actually a C major chord. That's a C, E, G, which is a C major chord. By the end of the first year, recognize that, wow, that's a C, that's a skip to the E line, skip to the G line, and when there are 3 notes in this kind of pattern, it forms a chord. This is called a C major chord. Reading sheet music is not just about naming notes, it's actually about recognizing patterns too. Number 4, develop a good sense of rhythm. Now, wrong notes are obvious, but bad rhythm can make even correct notes sound wrong. That was played without a good sense of rhythm. A better sense of rhythm would be there's a constant pulse from each beat to each next beat. Number 5. Hand coordination. A lot of beginners feel fine when it comes to just playing with one hand, but unfortunately things start to fall apart when you put hands together. That's completely normal, by the way. Hand coordination is a skill that even intermediate and advanced players continue to hone. The mistake I find is usually trying to get to hands together way too quickly. It's much better to first practice hands separately, which means learn the right hand, master that, learn the left hand, master that. Notice where the hand lines up. Play the hands together. Notice where they come together. Notice where the right hand comes in sometimes or the left. Combine slowly and only speed it up when you're very, very comfortable with the sequence of when things come in. Number 6, playing with good technique. So by the end of the first year, you would have probably come into some technical problem of playing the piano. Things like let's say feeling tension, or maybe realizing that finger 4 and finger 5 are particularly weak and very difficult to control. It's very important that in the course of the first year, you start to think about or have done some research about how to play in a way that is not technically wrong. For example, things like the curving of the finger, to play in this way rather than this way, and that your shoulders are relaxed and your wrist is relaxed. Number 7, understanding basic music theory. Now this is kind of related to a previous point about patterns, but I think by the end of the first year, I would like you to at least know what some of these things are. Let's put them on the screen here. You should know what scales are, keys, intervals, chords, differences between major and minor, and the 1, 4, and 5 chords, which are the primary chords in music. If you've never heard of these terms, that's also okay. Let me go through very, very quickly what these terms are. So a scale could be, let's say, a C major scale. what I just played there is a C major scale. So C, D, E, F, G, A, B, and then it kind of lands on the same note as the first note, which is C. That complete passage there is a C major scale, which means moving on to the next point, keys. So let's say if I was playing a piece in the key of C major, it means it utilizes the C major scale notes. Anything from C, D, E, F, G, A, B. And within the notes in a scale, for example, let's say an C to an E, this is an interval of a third. So 1, 2, 3. The study of intervals helps us to recognize the distance between each note to the next note. What are chords? Chords are these 3-note triads put together. So let's say C, E, and G put together. That forms a C major chord. Another word you'll hear thrown around is triad. That's also called a C major triad. What's the difference between a major and a minor? Let's say if we stick on C major here, that would be a C major. If I just lower the third note, which is the middle note, down by a half step. Now whether I play it broken like this, or together in a block like this, you should hear that this minor chord has a sort of a darker or a less positive quality to it. In simple language, major is happier and minor is less happy. The 1, 4, or 5 chords. So in C major, we have chord 1, 2, 3, 4. So in C major, if we sort of like build C, E, G, and that's chord 1. And if we just keep going up, these are chords 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. And then it goes back to 1. But the ones you need to know are 1, 4, and 5 because these are the kind of most important chords in any piece of music. Chord 1, chord 4, and chord 5. Number 8, how to use the pedal. The pedal can make piano music sound beautiful, but if you don't know how to use it, it can also make things very, very blurry. Listen to this. That's much nicer than. If you hold a pedal down too long, all the harmonies mix together and things become too muddy. It's important to know when to hold and release the pedal. Without going too in-depth into this topic in this video, the way to do it is you release and change the pedal at exactly the time you hit the next note of the next bar or the next chord. Number 9, learn how to practice efficiently. A lot of beginners make a mistake, they then start again from the beginning and play and make the same mistake again and repeat that for, 30 minutes. That might feel like practice, but it actually just reinforces the same problem. A much better way to do it is just to isolate it, just practice that part. In fact, isolate and cut down so much that you can only play that correctly. Fix very, very small sections before you then add like the bars in front and behind of it to like play a little bit longer. But you really want to consider that your time on the piano is quite limited, right? We're all busy adults here. We don't have hours and hours to practice every day. So in that 30, 45 minutes that we have, we want to make sure by the time we leave the practice, we actually accomplish something. We actually made something better. And that doesn't come from just repeating the same mistakes. It comes from isolation, like as in isolating the music, cut it down to just practicing, let's say 1 bar, or maybe even half a bar, and making sure that everything you play is correct before you piece together more and more bars of music. Number 10, a really important one here. Choosing the right pieces. A lot of people get into piano because they were inspired and they want to play beautiful music. That's a really good thing. But it's also, I think, important, and I advise this to my students all the time, it's important to be realistic that probably the piece that inspired you to get into piano are pieces you should try, but it certainly shouldn't be the only piece you're working on. I always advise my students to have kind of 3 projects they're always working on. Something that is easy, okay, something that you probably can play, you have played for a while, and you can just kind of like whip it out for friends and family. Something you are currently working on. So this is kind of like a medium level piece for you where you can reasonably get it working in, let's say, a month or 2 months. And then if you have time, you could try to work on these dream pieces. Okay, so the pieces that might take you 4, 5, or 6 months to realistically get it into your hands. But sometimes we love doing those. We love doing those pieces because they're the reason we wanting to play piano in the first place. There are probably pieces that are more worth your time right now that you can play and practice and build correct foundations that I promise will get you to playing the more difficult pieces later with more ease and with more understanding as well. And so there you go. Those are the 10 things I think a beginner piano learner should at least have thought about. It's hard to say, you know, the 10 things you should master by the end of the year, because when do we ever master anything? But here are the 10 things you should at least have thought about, and you should have some kind of plan to improve on these. Practice consistently, know your way around the keyboard, read music as patterns, develop good rhythm, coordinate both hands, play with good technique, relaxed technique, understand basic music theory like scales and chords, knowing how to use the pedal, knowing how to practice efficiently, and lastly, choosing the right pieces for your level. Which of these 10 things are the hardest for you? Let me know in the comments. Have a great practicing week, and I'll catch you in the next one.